Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. Today we are looking at Warlord issue 4 from the 1975 Volume 1 series by DC Comics. This is another great issue written by Mike Grell and illustrated by Mike Grell, colored by Carl Gafford and edited by Joe Orlando. We pick up where we left off. We are still in Skartaris, the city of Thera. We are looking at Deimos taunting Terra with the fact that she's his captive, when suddenly a soldier runs in, only to get bombarded with a catapult ball. The next page is a cool two-page spread of the Warlord and his siege equipment going after the city of Theris. Now, we get some really cool speeches, or statements about what's going on. We see the crossbows that he's built, the catapults, and the siege towers. That's, revolutionary for the time period this is set in, because it's more of a medieval type society. The gladiators are pouring out from the fields onto the ramparts. Deimos threatens Terra and says that she is his bargaining chip, and that he has the scrolls of blood, and that gives Deimos the secret of that power, and that no man can stand against it. And she says, but you're not facing a normal man. Well, Lieutenant Colonel Travis Morgan is no ordinary man, to be sure. So he sees Morgan down below, walks out onto a balcony, and uncovers some sort of device. Morgan sees what's going on, sees Terra, so he climbs a siege tower after Deimos summons this red monster, like a demon-looking thing. Morgan's carrying a bag, a duffel bag, which is kind of hard to read because of the age of the paper, but it is the self-destruct mechanism from his jet. So with that, like duffel bag kind of thing strapped to him, he climbs the siege tower to go for Deimos. The monster is getting in his way, and Deimos is hiding behind Terra. Morgan quickly realizes that this machine is what is controlling the monster, so he shoots that with his trusty .44, and the monster dissipates very quickly, and Morgan makes his way, now he's on the ground, makes his way to the front gate, drops the device, runs back behind a rock and shoots it, and it explodes, destroying the gate, allowing his men to rush into the tower, and Morgan goes on a bloodthirsty rampage, shooting people and slashing them until he gets to Deimos. Now, Deimos has him not necessarily where he wants him. He was about to escape, almost made it. But Morgan got there with his gun, and Deimos has never seen anything like a gun, so he's not sure exactly what it is. But he asks Morgan to fight him like a man, and Morgan relents, smooching his lady, and using a line that I just can't stand. She says, it's a trick, shoot him, or kill him where he stands, and he says, I can't, not like this, I'd be no better than he. Nonsense! If you have the bad guy cornered, just shoot him. He might win otherwise. But Morgan jumps into the fray. The two have this big battle. It's a two-page thing. One page is this cool montage scene, which would look really cool in theaters. And they eventually knocked into this beam of light where Morgan lands the killing blow, breaking through Deimos' sword and apparently cutting him in the head. So it's kind of off panel, like the way Deimos is bent. You can't see his head getting crushed, but it's rather implied. And that pretty well rounds it out. And Morgan says, hey, we've got the city. But then there's a cool quote from him where he says, a wiser man than I once said that all people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let the word be spread throughout the land. While there are men willing to fight for freedom, the hand of tyranny shall not prevail. And he and Terra decide they still have to go to her homeland of Shambhala. And he says, yeah, and maybe I can unravel some mysteries. Then we cut back to the last panels where it says, funny you should say that. And we see the book that Deimos was looking at. And it says Technical Operations Manual Computer Number B-100-D. Blood. Solid Light Hologram Projector Apparatus. So the demon he summoned was actually a solid light hologram. Now, for the 70s, that was actually kind of a pretty far out there concept. Pretty ahead of its time. Great lead in to the next story. And I'm really excited to see where they're going from here. It's been a long time since I've read any of these issues. So each issue is just reliving an experience that I had the joy of having as a kid. But yeah, a great issue. The cover sequence more or less is in there. The scene of the Warlord jumping into the arena with Deimos is mostly in there. The red monster is the monster that he fights outside, but gives you a nice idea what's going on in the issue. Good solid artwork, good shading techniques, good use of color. I really like the story, and the art really ties it together quite nicely. Big fan of Mike Grell's work. He really draws people very cleanly most of the time, and this was a great issue. If you get a chance to check out the Warlord series, I highly recommend it. So far, the 4 issues I've looked at have been great, and it looks like it's just going to keep being great. It looks like they really had a good idea where they were going, and hopefully it continues with that pace. But we'll look at issue 5 next time, and until then, thanks for listening.